everybody. Welcome back to Q-Tips. We are the Video Store Junkies, and we're here to bring you a few selections of movies or TV shows to watch over the weekend on streaming. And so we're just going to get into it, and I'm going to kick this over to Bill.
Oh, and you know what? I just realized foolishly that I've misplaced the thing that says where these are playing. So I'm just going to say Tubi, even though that may not be true. I my theme this week is film noir, which is the wonderful genre of films mostly considered in the post-war era that just were they're the most cynical, depressing, beautifully shot, black and white, grim crime stories ever done. I just love this stuff. Um, and the first one is one of the most influential movie that kind of came and went without really being noticed much when it came out, but now everyone realizes, woo, this was ahead of its time. 1950s Gun Crazy, also known as Deadly is the Female, which pretty much sums it up. And it's about a guy who really loves guns, but he's not a psychopath. Unfortunately, he meets one played by Peggy Cummings, who is just fantastic in this movie. She is just no good. She admits it. She tells him, but he falls in love with her. It's a really beautiful love story about two people, and it is doomed, absolutely doomed. There's some really good filmmaking by this. The guy who directed it, Joseph H. Lewis, did a lot of stuff. I mean, he did everything from Bowery Boys to whatever, but for this one, he was firing on all cylinders. Now, the reason, partly, this was actually written by Dalton Trumbo back when he was blacklisted, and not one of my favorite guys on earth, but a good writer. And this was really well done, and some beautiful stuff that way ahead of its time. Absolutely heart-rending ending set in a swamp that's like right out of a horror movie with fog, suspense, and you know the cops are coming for these people who richly deserve their fate, but still in all, above all, a love story, a genuine love story, a doomed love story, which is the best kind. So Gun Crazy. I don't know what else to say about it, but I will throw this now to Paul.
Why, thank you, Bill. I'll have to check that one out.
Mm.
My first film is Get Duked from 2019, playing on Amazon Prime, and it's about three sort of they're not, I wouldn't say wayward youths, but youth that have been basically forced into this program to avoid juvenile detention, and then one fourth kid who just wants the credit for it, and they join the Duke of Edinburgh's Award Highland Trek, which the Duke of Edinburgh's Award is actually a real thing. It's sort of like a kind of Boy Scoutish kind of thing, but not really. But they're forced. They're going to be going there. These teenagers, and they're going to be trekking across the Scottish Highlands, and then essentially it becomes sort of a most dangerous game, but in a very fun, humorous way. Eddie Izzard plays the Duke, and it's very thinly veiled class warfare as they're being hunted by the upper crusts. Very funny film, well worth watching. Just a really funny dark comedy, and not much else to say because that's all you really need to know. Go into it. It's a funny comedy. Eddie Izzard's wonderful as always. The kids are great. And that's Get Duked on Amazon Prime. And speaking of, are Dukes nobility or aristocracy? What are they, Bill? You know these kind of things, don't you? What are
They're
they?
parasitic leeches on the proletariat.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, well, I can't really say that for Renee, though.
No,
So,
not at all.
speaking of people, I'll pass this to Renee.
I am people. Well, hello. My first recommendation is Lawnmower Man. You can watch it on Tubi. It's the director's cut. This movie, or the first 15 minutes, is what I like to call monkeys and why they attack. Because, yeah, kind of, an extension of last week's recommendation that Bill made of Babes in Toyland. Those poor monkeys. This one seemed to be okay, though. But oh my gosh, these poor monkeys. Anyhow, this movie is very 90s. It is very weird, and it is very long, I will tell you, it's like a good 2.5-hour movie. So maybe, do some stuff on the side while you're watching it. There are some good parts, it does pick up towards the end. It is just very strange. It has an interesting concept, though, stuff you've probably at this point seen repeated, in other shows. Yeah, so Lawnmower Man. It is, I guess I should give you more of an idea of what's happening actually in this movie. Um Pierce Brosnan, he's in it, and, he plays a doctor who is basically working on a project to increase the intelligence of man, and, there you go. That's the basic, concept behind what that doctor is trying to do and what happens to, his patients. So, yeah, that's my recommendation. It is on Tubi, and I apologize, I feel like Bill, 'cause I didn't actually look up where else it was playing. So
Yeah.
go Tubi. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and stay till the end of the podcast, and I'll tell you where it's playing. And I'll pass this over to Paul.
Oh, doesn't it go to Bill?
Oops, I meant I'll pass this over to Bill.
Oh, there we go. Here I was
Oh,
so
we're in fine form today.
I'll edit
I
that
was
out. Nobody will
so
know.
poorly prepared. My next film is one of the great film noir films of all time. It's Detour from 1945, and this is just film noir uh, distilled to a fine essence. It is this sap, this poor klutz, Tom Neal, who is like hitchhiking across the country to get to his fiance and marry her. Um, he hitches a ride, and things happen, and every decision he makes is the wrong one, just getting him deeper and deeper on the express ride to hell.
Hmm.
And the no greater mistake than when he runs into Anne Savage playing Vera. And film noir films often have a femme fatale, but Vera is in a class all by herself. She would give Dolores Umbridge a run for her money in the most unlikable character ever to appear in a movie. You hate this woman. She is a castrating bitch. She is miserable. Even though Tom Neal deserves everything he gets in this movie, just through sheer, no one deserves to be around Vera. She's wonderful. You can't take your eyes off her. It is so great. This guy is going down. The film is interesting because it was directed by Edgar G. Ulmer, who did The Black Cat for Universal, one of the craziest of the classic horror movies, and just had an amazing story. This guy would have been one of the great directors in Hollywood, but he made the classic error of having an affair with the wife of the nephew of the guy who ran Universal. So of course he got
Ooh.
blacklisted. Yeah, good God. They got divorced, and then he married her within the same year. Quite the scandal. And he ended up making things for Producers Releasing Corporation, otherwise known as PRC, which was the lowest of the low in Hollywood. It was an actual studio, so it wasn't an independent thing, but this was the one who made things like Devil Bat, and just their movies were shot in a week. None of them cost more than $100,000. They were the B or the C film on any double or triple feature. I love their films. I love them, but boy, are they cheap. And this movie is cheap, cheapity cheap, terrible process photography. You can see where they're cutting corners left and right. Somehow that just makes it better. It is just so good. You know, this is worse than sometimes they describe film noir as taking place in a godless universe. Now this one's worse because God is seriously trying to screw you over. This I don't want to tell the fate of Vera for those who haven't seen it, but it is just perfect. It is just absolute perfect, completely consistent with everything that's gone on before. Tom Neal, who played this, later went on to actually kill his third wife. So yeah,
Oh,
there you go. Yeah. I know. Serve some time there. It's just, and then later on, his son um, filmed a remake of it. And it's like, wow, I don't know. The whole thing is just plain nuts.
is that the one
Edward.
with? Is that the one with what's her name? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, never mind.
Well, anyway,
That lady.
This movie has fallen into the public domain. So if you ever get one of those 1,000 films for $10 DVD
Oh.
collection, Detour is always on there. Even if it's like horror movies or porn or something, they just stick Detour in there so they have one classic film that was completely ignored and they let it slip into the public domain. So anyone can make a remake of Detour, but I
Love it.
doubt you could ever catch that genie in the bottle again.
Mm.
So again, I forgot to write down what this is on, but I'm just going to say Tubi. And because it's in the public domain, it should be on every channel. It should be
Yeah.
playing on CBS right now because it costs you nothing to play it. Start your own channel. And I will now send this off to Paul.
Why, thank you, Bill. My second pick is Extraordinary, not Extraordinary, Extraordinary from I think it
Ah,
2019. What?
that's funny.
Oh, it's on AMC Plus, Hoopla, Canopy, and Shudder. It stars Maeve Higgins as Rose. She's a nice, a kind driving instructor, but she can also see ghosts. And Martin has a problem, played by Barry Ward. Martin has a problem that his daughter, he thinks she's possessed, so he approaches Rose to help her. Unfortunately, they go up against a Satanist played by Will Forte. Very silly film. Very fun. Just a very cute, silly, funny little film. Highly recommended as well. If you watch the trailer, it gives you a good feeling for what these characters are like. Just really, really fun stuff. And that's about all I got to say for it. So that's Extraordinary, playing AMC Plus, Hoopla, Canopy, and Shudder. And speaking of extraordinary or
Oh,
extraordinary,
extraordinary.
I will pass it
Oh.
to Renee.
Can
Oh,
I
that's
can I
so
just
nice.
interrupt? Can I just interrupt for a second because I just looked up here. Gun Crazy is not actually streaming anywhere, but you can rent it on Apple TV, and I urge you to do it. Oh my God, I'm looking at the poster here, and I know this would cost me a fortune, but I want this poster. It's got a really attractive dame holding two guns, smoking a cigarette, wearing a tight green sweater. Holy crap.
Ah.
That has got to go on my wall. And let's see. Detour. Remember how I said it's in the public domain?
Yeah.
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 So you can watch this on Prime Video, Paramount, Epix, Hoopla, Vudu, Tubi, the Criterion Channel, Canopy, DirecTV, PureFlix, Pluto, Classics. The guy who lives down the road that nobody really talks to, he's watching it right now. It's on Fandor. It's on one of these things who apparently have no good graphic designer because the thumbnail is way too small with a terrible font color choice to read. It's on
Yes.
Plex. It's on oh my God, they're just trying to kill me here. Cult Picks,
Hmm?
Flicks. It'd be easier just to list what it's not on.
Mm. There's probably a great
So
copy on YouTube as well.
yeah. So there you go. Sorry. So back to Renee.
Oh my goodness. So, my next recommendation is Stan versus Evil. You can watch it on
Yay!
Hulu. Yeah. I honestly didn't realize. I think when the show, unfortunately, I actually just learned that it had been canceled after 3 seasons. Um, I think when it got canceled is when I thought it came out. I didn't realize it was from 2016. But John C. McGinley is stars in this series, and he plays just a very charming and sweet Stanley Miller, who is a former sheriff, and I say that sarcastically. He's a former sheriff, and he teams up with the new sheriff to basically take care of some situations that arise in town with uh, some entities that the normal police cannot take care of. So they need a little bit of help. And luckily, John C. McGinley is capable of taking care of those problems. So anyway, it's a really funny show. Honestly, I've been watching it with Paul and my sister, and we're only a few episodes in. It's getting funnier as we're going. But it's funny and it's short, only 22 minutes. So yeah, I think everybody should watch it, and it's on Hulu. So yeah,
Yeah,
Stan
and
versus
I
Evil.
second that. I second that.
Yay!
Yay!
And yeah, so I guess that's all we have. Does anybody have something to sing us out with?
Well, I kind of do. It's not related to this. It's related to a film I was going to recommend till I mentioned to Shelley I was going to recommend it, and she was actually offended. She goes, "I'm usually not offended by
Wow.
the films that you recommend." She said, "But I said, but you haven't even watched it." She goes, "I watched the trailer. That was enough." Because I showed
Caligula.
her and Renee the trailer, though it's a
You
different
did.
trailer than
Oh,
I've
dear
film I've seen
God.
before. But that's not the trailer I'd seen before. The trailer saw before didn't have. It was quite different. But I had showed them the trailer to the Greasy Strangler, which I was going to
Oh,
recommend.
jeez.
Yeah, and
Wow.
then
What's wrong
Bill's
with
like, "Good
you?
thing I." Yeah, that's what Shelley said. She was actually like offended that I
She
was
would
going to
have shown
recommend the
up by
Greasy
herself.
Strangler.
You would have been
So
left at home.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I would shoot smother me in my sleep. So I'm not recommending the Greasy Strangler. Totally not recommending the Greasy Strangler that's on Freevee that you could watch on Amazon Prime. Totally
Gee.
not recommending it. Nope, nope,
Ugh.
don't watch that one. But if so, I was gonna sing since I didn't really have any songs to relate. I was gonna sing a song from Grease because Greasy Strangler.
Sure.
So
That's
yeah,
Greasy
so I
Strangler.
was gonna
Yeah.
sing Grease Lightning. So here we go.
Oh,
Uh,
God.
it's this car is automatic. It's hydromatic. It's Grease Lightning. Somebody once told me the world is going. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
For the weekend of November 18th, Bill recommended Gun Crazy, available to rent, and Detour, available on Amazon Prime, Tubi, Pluto, and Paramount. Paul recommended Get Duped, available on Amazon Prime, and Extraordinary, available on Shudder, AMC Plus, Hoopla, and Canopy. I recommended The Lawnmower Man, available on Tubi, Roku, and Freevee, and Stand Against Evil, available on Hulu.